everybody, and welcome back to The Hole in the World, an actual play of the Invisible Sun RPG by Monty Cook Games. I am, as always, your GM, otherwise known as Great Zamino, otherwise known as Zach, otherwise also having he, him pronouns. I am joined, as I am always joined. This is a real weird intro today, so thanks for bearing with us, guys. I'm always joined by my lovely cast, and if she wouldn't mind starting us off, Marcy.
Hey y'all, I'm Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, which is the username you can find me most places around the internet, except for Twitter, where I still remain the resident cryptid, but theoretically you can still find me under the username Marciful over there. And I'm back playing Gavriel Glinsky / Kazan, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir.
Awesome.
Fuck yeah, still got it.
God damn, well done. Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you'd like to give us your introduction.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill. You can find me on Discord under the handle @GhostBike, and I am playing Maurice Webb, a stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers who turns tales into reality and may be getting his arm back.
Awesome possum. And then moving to the other side of the overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Haha, that's me. Coming to you from Colorado, like a fancy pants. What's up? I'm Hopper. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on the interwebs under Fail Deadly. That is with a 3 instead of an E, so it looks like Fail Badly because I'm a bad person. And tonight I will be returning once again to play Twigg, the mendicant gallant apostate who heralds beginnings.
Awesome. And finally, last but not least, in no uncertain way for sure, Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa, she, her pronouns, also known as Critical Kitten, with various punctuation here and there on the interwebs. And I play Kyrrie von Hollingsworth, the first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vance. She is an eremitics stoic who understands the words, guardian of the Leska's grimoire, curator of King Nine's library, and I guess breaker of fleshy cube curses now? Maybe?
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. Yeah, no, certainly, absolutely. A lot actually happened in that regard, which we are going to recount as soon as I add a familiar tune to our little track here.
Flesh Cube is going to be the title of my next rock band.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So guys, the previous session of The Hole in the World saw our Visley locked in combat with a pair of vicious twin hecatombs, magical adepts using dark powers to serve the needs of the Vespertine. Moments after Kyrrie learned from Queen Frageliva that the recurrence of magic flowed through the Vance like a bonfire, she teleported with Maurice and Twigg to rejoin Gavriel's battle against the Vespertine agents as they attempted to enact some terrible magic upon the Al-Rustam, the legacy artifact at the heart of the Silver Sun. Gavriel made short work of the twin brother with 2 well-placed rifle shots, and Kyrrie used Baloth's binding grasp to blind and grapple the twin sister. Unfortunately, circumstances grew more dire as the weird twins' machinations revealed themselves. 4 accursed cubes set around the Al-Rustam pulsed and clouded several of the facets of the artifact. Meanwhile, Maurice and Twigg worked to understand the dark ritual at work by threatening the grappled twin. The Weaver quickly found himself, however, overtaken by hatred as he interrogated the cackling agent. I went very extra with the intro notes, guys. Acting quickly, Kyrrie used Camerata's Cursebreaker to remove the curses of 3 of the cubes, but quickly grew under threat as angelic guards, Gavriel, and Queen Frageliva herself fell under the sway of the dark ritual. With Gavriel struggling for control of herself, Kyrrie tapped out of sorcery, and with Maurice bonded to the floor by the twins' magic, it fell on Twigg to dispose of the last cube. Catching a curse dagger, ducking under the spears of angelic protectors, and evading the looming threat of an ensorcelled Queen Frageliva, Twigg sunk the dagger into the cube, simultaneously charging it with magic. Exploding into black shards, the cube collapsed and the magic affecting the angels of the Silver Sun faded. Following a brief recovery, the Vizsla met Queen Frageliva on her silver throne as she offered each of them a boon within her power to grant. Still terrified by the hatred he felt in his heart, Maurice looked to the rest of the Vizsla shattered. Meeting the queen's gaze, the weaver soon found his tentacular arm in the grip of the queen, a soft silver light emitting from it. And that is where we are picking up. So in order to kind of set that mood, however, I need a new song. Okay. So, Maurice, what is passing through your mind as your arm begins to glow in the grip of this godlike being?
I think kind of a knee-jerk response is Maurice was thinking about how much this was going to cost him at the changeries to fix himself, and thinking, oh wow, this is actually happening.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
The next thought that goes through his mind is a bit of like cold feet all of a sudden. That, you know, maybe this could be useful to him. Maybe hatred is clarifying and, you know, righteous at times. And maybe this is an aspect of him that he needed to focus on. But it's too late. It's happening.
As you think that, there is a moment, and all of this time has slowed down. The world around you shifts and shimmers as this charge is being kind of let off. But at the same time, in the back of your mind, you feel like an awareness, a buzzing, as if of a noisome insect. And on the one hand, kind of this feeling of tranquility. And you realize very quickly that you still have a choice to make. As what is transpiring, it seems, is not without some of your volition. As you feel her grip on your arm, that noisome noise still kind of coalesces and continues. And you feel it as if it's staring into the back of your head. The hatred aggregate. A wellspring of terrible power. And if you wanted to, just desperately enough, just reached out with this awareness, this bond that you have, you could grab hold of it. You would have it at your beck and call. You know this.
In the middle of that monologue, Maurice says calmly to himself, enough, I'm done.
And in your head, you hear Queen Frageliva's voice. Then you have made your choice. So be it. And as the magic that she is working into your arm and the light of that silver light pulsing from and translusing the skin from within glows brighter and brighter, your eyes shut reflexively, and the scenery around you changes. Time still slowed down. Trapped in a moment. And I am going to turn a card to see which moment is evoked. The cat. Solitude, curiosity, cleverness, dexterity. Cats see much. they prowl about or simply find a good vantage point and watch and sleep. Should something really catch their eye, however, they move to investigate. Curiosity killed the cat, as the saying goes, and it's true. But cats have 9 lives, and thus they can afford a little curiosity. The cat is the companion of the Notions family. It watches over them and sometimes even protects them. So, those notions of solitude, curiosity, cleverness, and dexterity, something in this moment triggers a memory of you as a child. What memory is evoked?
I think this is in the gray. And it's a moment where Maurice is sitting in an Upper West Side apartment sometime in the 70s or 80s. And he's got a book in his hand and he's looking out the window down to the common area of the apartment complex where there are kids playing basketball and hopscotch, jumping rope, and he's not there. He's alone. His parents always left him alone, and only since he arrived back in the actuality did he think about how odd that was, and odd that he was okay with it. And that is the prevailing emotion. He was okay with it because he realizes the book was in his hand, but he was staring down at the other kids and inventing stories for them, inventing their names and their fears and their likes and their dislikes and their relationships amongst each other. And like he was orchestrating it, like they were all running around according to his plan. And he was okay with it. It felt good.
And as you have that moment, that thought, you hear behind you as you are looking down at the scene, like playing out according to how you are writing it, whether, in your imagination or otherwise. What does your mother say to you that rouses your attention?
Dinner bell.
And as you look to her, there is something about the scenery in this, gray apartment that seems to shift and to shimmer. Some of it, yes, with the kind of flexibility and the changeability of memory. But this place, it seems different on the inside. There are silk kind of almost motifs in the curtains that are spider web like. There are strangely shaped furnishings, and there are otherwise kind of very ornate artifacts that seem to dot this very well furnished apartment that doesn't seem to jive with the memory that you had. And as you look at your mother, what does she resemble? What does she look like?
I think in this moment, Maurice is really kind of noticing the strangeness of it all, and like in the way that you can't quite look at a clock in a dream, you can't quite make out the features of her face. It's a wash of blandness and face-like features, but what exactly are they? The details don't coalesce.
I have to ask, as you kind of like feel this blandness, this vagueness, what prevailing emotion punches through?
I think like a longing. I think whatever deep part of Maurice has been without a family, this self-exile, whether from his family in the actuality to his lonely life in the gray, this longing for connection, for a mother. That's what he's feeling. And why can't it coalesce?
What feature becomes as clear and as brilliant as day to you through the sheer force of this will as this magic is worked into your arm?
From the outside in, the hair suddenly goes high def, auburn strands.
And as you see the hair kind of change and become high definition and become more real, that I think what follows next are a pair of piercing eyes that look at you warmly and yet very insightfully and knowingly. And through this blandness, through this kind of gauze of memory, you hear her voice and you hear her say, "Now, what have I told you about exercising that kind of power on shadows?"
I'm sorry. It's a habit, I guess.
And you feel this kind of non-touch as she moves to the window and very gently kind of squares your shoulders to kind of the perspective you were looking out, aligning her own perception and vision with yours. And I think she just kind of gets close to you, her cheek. You half expect there's going to be some sort of warm feeling there. But again, it's that kind of like gauze-like layer between you and the memory. And she looks at you and says, "I'm going to tell you a secret that not even your father knows. Everyone out there, regardless of how fictitious, how elaborate these illusions are, they have meaning. Those lives, they came from somewhere. Those memories, the illusions, there's a beauty to it. Maybe it came from my people. Maybe they are the stories that your father's people kept telling and fabricating. But either way, what you do down there has merit and it has effect. You have power. You will always have it. But you should use it wisely and with compassion. You tread on dreams."
Maurice turns back to her, says, "Are you worried, Mama?"
For you, always.
Why would you tell me this now?
I felt like now is the time you needed to hear it. And you feel the touch of that kind of gauzy, hidden feeling sensation you should have. You just feel a gentle kind of graze of it on the top of your scalp.
Kind of a shiver of pleasure goes over Maurice in this memory.
My little prince. And in that moment, you come reeling back and find yourself back into the actuality of the present day, staring at where once were a large tentacular arm with several each like miniature tentacular fingers have been replaced with your own hand that you recall. And I have to ask, though, what print, what touch, what mark of the divine is left by Queen Frageliva?
Oh shit. Something along the back of the hand, like a as if it were a gauntlet, out of silver, some mark of hers, like something, a mark of the royal seal, something like that.
Absolutely. It is a mark that evokes in you the image of a half-lidded silver eye. The print itself seems to gleam, the skin itself seems to gleam with a silver sheen, and you may mark down the secret divine touch, which I will outline to you at a later point.
Maurice has silent tears flowing down his cheeks. I think to all observers in this moment, it's the relief and joy of having his arm back, but really it's left over from the immediacy of that memory he just exited.
Absolutely. All of you outside of this memory, outside of that moment, you watch as in a matter of seconds, Queen Frageliva grips his arm very gingerly between several fingers, but like just her hand is large enough to cover the whole of his extremity. And you see light, and there is this kind of like indecisive moment where it seems to flash one bit red and then again kind of effuses silver light in a bright flare and burst before what emerges is the human hand that Maurice, you originally knew had. What are all of you doing? Or feeling in this moment?
Bit shitty, to be honest. I think Twigg has sat down on the floor and looks slightly the worse for wear.
Kyrrie, Gavriel?
I think sorry. had just watched all of that happen. Obviously not the dream state that Maurice went into, but has just seen a hand sort of restored and is just sort of like, what the fuck is happening? But she seems pleased that you don't have that that you don't have that part of the hate cyst attached to you anymore.
Kyrrie?
I think Kyrrie knows that there is magic that is powerful enough to do this. She's seen Vances who maybe don't have Queen Frageliva's, whole body of power, but she knows that there are spells that are designed to have what seems like miraculous effect. She's not had the opportunity to witness too many of these spells, but she has occasionally seen them at conclaves and when a visiting scholar comes to town that is particularly prodigious, or I think she's awed by the power of what's just happened, and I think her mind instantly goes to the science, imagines anatomy sort of rewriting itself and reshaping itself, the arteries and veins falling into their proper place. And I think even thinking of this and even looking at Queen Frageliva with sort of this renewed respect for her station and her power, I think she wonders why Maurice is crying. I don't think she knows.
And as all of you contemplate these thoughts, Queen Frageliva looks then to all of you.
A boon has been granted, but several still shall be granted unto you. Who among you has a request of I, Queen Frageliva of the Silver Sun?
And she waits expectantly.
Maurice turns, and I think of the three of you. Twigg on the floor is the most concerning, and walks over and says, I don't want to speak for you, but I can think of a few things that you need.
I think Twigg almost cracks a joke at that, but you see like a kind of half smile pop up on their face, and then like just kind of that turns into a grimace, and yeah, probably.
Maurice extends his new hand to help you up.
Twigg takes it after a moment of consideration. Like a brief moment, not enough to be rude, but enough to probably, I think Maurice is aware enough that there's just kind of a definitely like, oh, should I be touching this? Energy.
As you touch Maurice's hand, there is a feeling of beneficence that washes over you. It's just kind of a reassuring good feeling.
I don't trust it. But yeah, Twigg kind of staggers to their feet. They're still wearing this shining silver armor emblazoned with clocks and the armor of the 13th hour. So I think they look a little bit out of place. Like this is somebody who's used to kind of just being almost a shadow in the background and is now being forced into a spotlight, and with a kind of a deep sigh, deep like fuck sigh, looks up at Queen Frageliva. I don't suppose you know anything about missing hearts?
If a new heart is what you require, or a means by which to produce a beginning from such an organ, a mortal part, you need only but ask. However, if it is knowledge you seek, then I may have some contacts in other realms that may advise me of such a location.
I'm starting to get the feeling that I might not fully qualify as mortal, and I don't know if aftermarket parts are such a good idea. No offense. They say to Maurice.
She nods and then looks to both Kyrrie and to Gavriel, unless you had anything else you wished to say.
No, I think Twigg kind of turns and just claps Maurice on the shoulder as they walk past him, which I think to an observant eye they might realize that was a moment of support as much as it was a moment of support. And to avoid staggering a little bit, and limps kind of back and away from this massive magical lady.
I think Duncan comes to you as you find your place. It's kind of tail wagging in your face like, oh, you're back.
And I think...
can I do something, Zach? Can I do something dumb?
You may absolutely do something dumb.
Bill, can I do something dumb?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm asking as a player.
Yep.
Cool. I'd like to argue that this is not super intentional, but kind of a loving, and this moment of just love and delight and just joy that Duncan is here and back, and I'd like to spend probably slightly too much remaining physicality, and give Duncan just a bit of scritches right behind the ear and just a wiggle of the face and do all that. And I'm still... Twig doesn't know what the fuck that... Hopper as a player is saying this. Twig does not know what they're doing. They don't have knowledge of what or who they are. And I, as a player, think it's fucking funny if I awaken Duncan.
Okay. So I will tell you this.
You want your dog to be real, Bill?
I have some notes. I want to see what Zach says.
So here's so here's I have some notes. So here's the thing about kind of these God, what do we call them again? Thought forms. So here's the thing about thought forms is in practice they are pieces of the people that create them. Oftentimes they're very abstracted, or they're very kind of like minimal pieces, but other times they're very deep and inextricable. In this case, Duncan is a very deep part of Maurice.
But what if we make that deep part of Maurice have an actual sentience?
Which my point is to say, it's up to Bill.
That's why I asked, because this feels very this is almost PvP.
All right, here's my pitch. The thought form Duncan disappears, goes back into Maurice, and it becomes a tulpa of a dog.
Okay.
So the specific ability I'm looking at is called Invigorate Spirit.
Interesting.
And this is where it gets messy. A little bit of Twig's essence goes into that as well.
Oh man, this is hilarious. I love this.
Okay,
as long as you're cool with it.
Yeah.
I've been dying to use this, and one time I almost died. And I've literally been thinking about, like, I was just like, what does Twig care about a lot? And Duncan is like the only person that has been personality that has been a consistent presence, that at no point has been untrusted, uncaring. Like, literally the only good thing about the past 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. So, okay. This is
Zach, are you ready to fuck with a whole bunch of different magical systems?
This is a GM cradling his head moment. Okay. So,
would you expect any less of me?
So my question is, does Duncan communicate telepathically? Is there anything that Invigorate Spirit in particular says? What is the text on this spell?
So the text on this spell is, I invest my essence into a non-sentient object or plant. It is a small, and in this case, it's a little bit vague, but it is a creature of a level 4 lower than this ability's level. This creature deals damage equal to its level when it attacks. The spell grants it some combination of mobility, senses, ability to eat or feed itself, and anything else it might require. But otherwise, the creature operates based on its shape and nature. At any time, the living creature can revert. So if Duncan doesn't want this, Duncan can be like, nah.
Okay.
To its original form, if it so chooses. I have no control over this new creature, but it is probably, this is in the text, this is homebrew, it is probably somewhat well disposed to me for giving it life, although some objects may resent that.
Okay, here's my pitch.
Uh-huh.
So like this is just the idea of a memory of a dog. Mm-hmm. Specifically Maurice's idea of a memory of a dog. So I think it has all of those qualities, but whatever part of Twig is being put into this. So like a dog with like Twig's personality.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So like basically the way I was thinking about it, because I wanted to ask, because it's a thought form, but it seems to me like we'd basically be reinforcing all of the Duncanness. Though it is very funny if there is a scooch of Twig in there.
Yeah.
For me, not for you guys, for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's.
Does this awaken? Does this awakened dog talk audibly?
You know, I don't think that's a me call. I think that's Duncan's. I think that's a Bill call. Or a Zach call.
No, this is entirely out of my hands here. This is
a sooth deck, Carl.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh shit! I
Sorry,
should get my dice.
Kyrrie, what are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that if Duncan needs someone to teach Duncan the language of the Vizsla, we do have someone who understands the words and whose whole thing is about languages. So,
are we creating the
this.
ultimate group, baby?
Yeah, I think so.
Is
Hold
that what's
on.
going on here?
Let's see what this card is. Okay.
Anyways, I'm dumping all of my remaining physicality in this, so it will be a level ability.
Okay.
And that means Duncan is functionally a creature of Biffle.
Of what level?
Fifth
level. Okay. All right. I drew the Swan, which is the companion to Vision Swan's blades and water. Its meanings are good fortune, good weather, and latent talents. Elegant and serene, the Swan is the companion card of the Visions family. It is a harbinger of luck, and in particular, it is said to bring calm, favorable weather with it wherever it goes. But as many someones have said, we make our own luck. In this case, the Swan represents that as well. In the midst of a challenge, someone displays a talent, an affinity, or even a magical ability that they didn't know they had. When this happens, it is sometimes called a Swan event. This card suggests good fortune. The winds of fate blow favorably for the person in question, and the path that lies before them. Rarely, however, it is deeper than that. The Swan and its resultant Swan events can suggest that one might have a talent that has so far been unrecognized, even by the person in question. That talent is the key to moving forward and succeeding at some upcoming challenge. But how does one discover such a thing? By awakening a heckin' good doggo.
How? I'm sorry. How did your companion card get drawn? I'm sick of this.
Monty Cook is a witch, obviously.
How does this happen?
The regal Swan's quiet mind conceals wonders. And what wonders?
May I suggest that we can all understand Duncan, but Duncan can't talk?
Oh my God,
a la
yes.
Lassie.
Okay.
What's that?
Oh my God. Yes.
Bisley's falling in a hit, sis.
100%.
Yes. Okay.
Well, we better go get him.
Yeah. All right. Okay. At which point, I think all of you hear a barking noise. You hear Duncan barking, and all of you just instantly recognize, wow, you just hear the words in your mind just reverberate psychically. The bark as some sort of kind of like translation or linguistics happens, and all of you just hear, wow, that's a real tall lady. And you just see Duncan panting, looking up, smile plastered on his face, and just another bark as you just hear, I'm hungry.
I think Twigg is kind of still scratching behind the ears, but like side-eyeing their own hands.
I think Maurice is also looking at his hand like, what is this new silver hand thing doing?
Gav just points and is like, the dog is talking.
Kyrrie's mouth has dropped open.
The dog is talking, yeah?
That shouldn't be possible. That shouldn't be possible.
I didn't do
this
it.
This is the event that we all find to be totally implausible. The dog talking. That's it. That's the one. That's the benchmark for all of us.
But you see, Duncan's never learned language. Languages don't work that way.
Impossible. He's a memory.
And you just, I think here, once again, you see the implacable, inscrutable face of Queen Frageliva, and yet if it was possible for her to have even a small fraction of a smile that you could read on her face, it would be on her face now as you hear,
Memories in the actuality are often a wellspring of good beginnings, especially one such Swan event, as it were.
I think Maurice walks over and says, you feeling okay, boy?
and you just hear a bark and just say, "Oh, I'm good. Love you."
Love you too, bud.
If anybody, before anybody notices, Twig definitely wipes their nose because they have a massive nosebleed. Because I did dump physicality to do that.
All right. Okay. You now have an awakened doggo. You have one fixed arm, and I think Queen Frageliva is like taking all of this in. Just, remains almost completely static on this throne. It would be completely static if it weren't just like the bellows sound of her breathing, just because she's so vast a figure. Kyrrie and Gavriel, it's back to you.
We can't top an awakened dog.
Sorry, guys.
Not a competition. It's just a boon.
It's just good fortune.
Oh man.
Oh, for the record, I did roll for that, and it was a 6 and a 9
Incredible.
because I got +1 dice. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Nice. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to be that practical friend. I mean, considering what
Inquisitor? Sorry. Inquisitor? Sorry.
Hey. Yeah, I think Gav is just sort of going to like do some just like a little like, hey. But like while still also looking at the dog, like she had a thought and now it's like I'm not sure if this is something that you can provide, but given everything that just happened, is there some means, not just for myself, but for the rest of my companions, to prevent our minds from being overtaken in the same fashion? A way that you could bolster our mental defenses so no one could manipulate us.
She thinks for a moment about this. And she says,
There are certainly magical blessings that I can provide. However, if you would like something more tangible, something less finite even, or dispellable in such a way, we do have at our disposal one of the finest makers in the actuality.
Gav looks at all of you as if to like ask your opinion on what you think of that.
Maurice with one hand petting Duncan gives a thumbs up.
Yeah, I think like keep in mind Gavis still has like that black residue. I think that's still like running down her face from whatever the Vespertine tried to do to her and the angels that she's hosting.
I will tell you this, that whatever was obscuring the halo for those moments where you were losing your agency, that has completely shifted. Whatever it is seems to have exuded out like almost like a waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like I have a weird consumption. I think it would be beneficial to meet this maker.
Then this meeting shall be arranged, provided you have had sufficient time to rest and to recover. As you have done this realm a service, you will be treated as a...
I'm trying to think of really what the most appropriate word is. I do want to say
Heroes of the realm.
but yeah,
I mean, nuisances of the realm works well too.
but yes, she promises in short order to allow you to meet this maker.
Good.
And yeah, I believe that leaves Kyrrie.
I think Kyrrie will walk a bit closer to Queen Frageliva and really look her in the eye. Legend says that a god in despair and sadness over the loss of their lover germinated the original god's tulips. Your lover, who were they? Who could compel the tears of the Queen of Angels?
Okay. She looks at you. Okay, all right. That is, whew. All right, because
Wow.
I will tell you this. Her response to this is
Your boon to know the name of one who would force me to shed tears.
If I've learned anything about magical artifacts, it is that you cannot just request them. You have to earn them, and often earning them requires knowing what they are and where they came from. It seems that the story of the god's tulips starts there, and I'd like to know it.
very well. She beckons you forward. And the ceilings in here are vast. And as you move forward, she bends at the waist, bends a massive knee so that her lips, large enough to consume you whole, are just above your head. And she whispers so quietly and so softly that only you can hear the name that is uttered. Don't mind me. I'm just typing something.
Secrets.
You now have the name in your possession.
That's power.
Yeah. Check your Zoom.
Gotcha.
And you do have this name at your disposal, at which point she rises and then says,
Then I assume your requirement has been met. It is not a trivial thing that you have asked of me.
I don't take it trivially.
she nods.
I thank you for sharing it with me. Perhaps someday I will come to know the story, what really happened, but this is a start, and I think all journeys to knowledge are worth having. Answers should not be demanded, they should be undertaken. Thank you.
And she nods. Finally, she looks at all of you.
It is my understanding that you wish to interrogate this perpetrator of dark magic on the Alrus Dam.
Oh, yes, I do intend to.
My protectors are at work investigating, finding out more about their manner by which they ascended the temple tower. With this knowledge And with her confinement, you will be able to ask your questions. Know, however, that I shall have my judgment, and I shall know the truth that is hers to offer.
I promise that nothing I do will kill your charge.
Anybody can make me a intellect roll about magical lore.
Ooh, I'm good at that, actually.
As am I.
Oh, nice. Gonna be an 8.
I will say that. Anybody else roll?
I did 5.
Okay.
1.
On an
9.
on
I
an
rolled an 8 and I have a +1.
I think instinctually, 9 and 8. I think that the sense that you get, I think Twigg, is that she's going to ask this Vespertine agent the hard way, and what that translates to you, Gavriel, is that you like, and I think that you get a sense of this, Twigg, as well, is that when Queen Frageliva looks into you, she can basically sift through you to find the truth. And if she looks hard enough, Gavriel, you realize there's not going to be much left to sift through once she's extracted what she wants.
Once again, I thank you for this service. I now have made arrangements for you to retire to chambers befitting exemplars of the realm. You shall be escorted by Okarian.
And she once again kind of seats herself on her throne and watches as Okarian, the owl-headed, three-eyed angel, very timidly finds his way into the court and motions all of you to follow him. And all of you are led out of the throne room of the palace of Queen Frageliva. You are then led up several stairs to these kind of side temples that are built to the side of either part of the main rotunda that was built to house Queen Frageliva. And you realize that one of these side towers, none of them, like all of them very opulent and spiraling into these very kind of pointed minarets, but none of them hold a candle to how tall the temple tower is. But at the same time, they are no less opulent and no less decadent as you kind of move up the stairwells, flanked by these eagle-headed guards that once again are bearing these kind of luminescent spears on either side, more for kind of the making sure that anybody that passes them understands the priority of your egress. You are not being kind of forcefully escorted. But the idea is that all of you, after some time, ascend several stories and are led out onto a floor of diplomatic or what look to be diplomatic chambers and kind of quarters for guests of the realm. And each of these, all of you kind of have this flashback to the moment where you stayed in the castle of King Nine. But there's just so much more about this that is a little bit less garish, a little bit less kind of sturm and drang and very oppressive about this. Everything is really open architecture-wise. The ceilings are vaulted, the walls kind of connecting into these barrel vaults, and there's ample amount of space. And every as you were making your ascent up the tower towards closer and closer to these top minarets, on every side are these bright windows with a great deal of silver light streaming in, but slowly but surely, kind of as the sun sets, the light begins to dim. And each of you are shown to separate chambers. However, you realize that any of these chambers can house easily all of you, as there seem to be at a minimum of 2 beds. And you realize that these beds are accommodating mortal figures, which seems to be a quick change. But for any kind of being, you realize that they could make accommodations fairly quickly. You guys are now alone on the diplomatic floor of this minaret in the realm of the Silver Sun.
How far away are our rooms?
I mean, they're fairly next door. I think they made the arrangements assuming that you would want to be close to each other.
Yeah, I think Maurice kind of immediately like opens his door and says, hey guys. You guys doing okay? I don't think I want to be alone right now.
Gav comes out holding like a handkerchief and she's like wiping the remains of whatever void gunk she's still got on her.
Oh, regular, it's routine garden variety void ichor.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You just don't it's bad for your skin. I need to get it off. But Gav comes into like, do we have like a little living space, almost like a main quarters? Is what I'm picturing in my head for some reason.
Yeah, if you guys want, like, there could be like a share. I think that the floor
I'm
of the
picturing a hotel lobby.
Yeah, it's like a shared common area with a bunch of like days in couches.
Yeah, you guys are, I realize it now, you guys like are treated like the party of a visiting diplomats. You are basically given connected suites.
Are we allowed to eat the snacks in the fridge?
What are they gonna? I'm sure you can.
I really want to know. Hey, Zach, what snacks are in the fridge?
Oh my
What
god!
kind of tea is served in the Silver Sun?
So the mini bar? How, like, while we're rating everything, like, what's my liquor options?
All right, you know what? Honestly, in order of question, Hopper or Twig, angel food cake.
God damn it!
What was it? Ginger tea, ginger peach that's reassuring and comforting. It's literally liquid comfort. And for alcohol, ambrosia. How you like that?
I don't. That's not what I wanted. It's too sweet.
Yeah, we're trying to brood, Zach. This isn't celebratory.
Yeah, I
Need
think Gav pours
bitters made out of bitterness.
Yeah, Gav pours this very golden looking drink into a glass and is like, and takes a sip. Is like, oh, God, it's like sugar. It's just pure sugar.
I think like Kyrrie's holding a mug of this liquid comfort tea and is like just slowly just kind of starting to like relax, like every muscle in her body. And you've literally never seen Kyrrie look like this relaxed. It's like she's on a cloud or something.
Is it because Gav is quietly pouring out her drink into your teacup every time you put it down?
Mixing liquid comfort with ambrosia. What's the effect of that net effect?
I can draw a card. Don't you guys make me do it.
Draw a card to find out what mixing comfort tea and ambrosia does.
I think Maurice has some angel food
Is it
cake.
ignorance is bliss?
All right, that's good. I like that a lot.
Maurice has some angel food cake and he's kind of feeding it piece by piece to Duncan and going like, so you know that like you don't have to eat at any point, right?
And at which point you hear the bark and just say, yeah, but I want to.
I love this. And he keeps feeding him.
Okay. You guys now have this chamber to yourselves. Do you guys all kind of go to sleep pretty immediately, just kind of worn out? How do you spend?
Oh no, Gav is like pacing. Gav wants to interrogate this Vespertween so bad.
I was gonna say? Yeah, how does this manifest? You're pacing, what are you doing?
What, do I have to wait for some sort of official invitation? Can I just go? Do you think? Are there dungeons here? It didn't strike me as that.
Are we supposed to wait?
I'm not waiting. I don't want to wait. I think by the time Queen Frageliva gets to the Vespertine. There's not going to be much left for me.
Yeah, let's just go.
Yeah. Yes. Let's just go. The greatest words I've ever heard.
We sure that's a good idea? I mean,
No, but I think we should do it anyway. And I think I've had enough of them trying to get around into my insides that I'm owed some answers.
Would we call this like a 10-minute rest?
I would
An hour rest?
That is a good point.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, my thing about this is you guys are more than welcome to take as much time as you need. If you'd like to get fat, like you can go down there immediately. You just won't have the opportunity to use too many rests.
I am tapped the fuck out.
What did the 10-minute rest grant us? Because we haven't rested at all.
I think it's two of your rests are actions. One is an hour, and one is, I believe, 8 hours. And the idea is that if you,
It's action, 10 minutes, 1 hour.
oh, okay, yeah.
So-
So you may.
Oh, I've got an action, and never mind. I've used one of my actions. I thought it was action 10-minute hour or
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah,
So we can technically take the 10 and refresh at this point.
you can refresh 2 of your pools.
Amazing.
With a single rest?
You can refresh 2 of your pools with 1 action and 1 10-minute.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So
Do
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm going to
sure.
do that right now.
yeah.
Just to clarify, Kyrrie doesn't get new spells until the next day, though, right? Like her mind space is like already full.
That is the problem with being a Vance, but yeah, unfortunately you're pretty tapped, but you could renew your sorcery. You can still rest and get your sorcery back. The issue is that any space that you used of your brain to cast or to free spells, you are not going to be able to get back until tomorrow. So what do you do?
Well, good news is I'm fully stacked on sorcery and physicality again.
Okay.
Samesies.
Awesome.
Is there any literature in these embassies? Like, I don't know, menus,
Yeah.
books of prose,
Let me turn.
pulp fiction novels.
I'm gonna turn a card and see what's provided. Oh wow, this is another Swan one. The Questing Knight, an apprentice, the apprentice of the Visions family. The Questing Knight is a stalwart and focused individual seeking justice, but over the long term. The quest is long and hard. Success, however, comes to the persistent and the determined. So the idea is, I think that there is just kind of like gingerly put away the story of, it's really more of like kind of like an epic saga of a heroic angel of the Silver Sun who ended up essentially kind of doing, it's really more of kind of like a history, which is basically about how after the days of the legacy, he helped to lead all of the angels to once again band under the reign of Queen Frageliva as a champion of her.
Question, does this particular book that appears, does it look rare? Does it look like something that should be not consumed?
Make me
I'm
a
hangry.
intellect roll.
I will.
Anybody else bring any literature? Because Chris is a dick.
Did you
and kept
ask? Did you
nothing.
ask your friend who might have a bottomless bag of paperback trash?
No.
Did you?
Why would I ask? So yeah, I think you see Twigg wandering out with this. Is this like an illuminated manuscript? I'm very much picturing like a big, bulky, just classic, beautiful piece of literature, like with like a with like some monk shit going on.
Let's resolve that intellect roll first.
So that was a 7 on the die.
I will tell you this, there is no book in this place that is not very well crafted. Everything is really kind of like very lovingly made, and it is in fact a illuminated manuscript with these gorgeous images. But you have to understand that the thing that you do get the very kind of prevailing vibe is that everything in the Silver Sun is about creation, whether it's creative works or beginnings as a whole. And there are many angels that are known to be prolific creators. So this is probably just the handiwork of one angels, and as such is probably representative of a very small part of a very prodigious output.
I think nonetheless, Kyrrie sees a beautiful illuminated manuscript book and I feel like she sees the intent in Twigg's eye and is like, I'm sorry, what are you doing with that book?
I was going to peruse it in an aggressive manner.
You sure you weren't going to eat it?
Yeah, that is what
it looks to me like you're intending to eat it.
Yes, I'm so hungry.
We do not eat beautiful works of the Silver Sun. We eat things like paperbacks and pulp fiction and mysteries. And she pulls out, I think, from like her side bag, this bottomless bag of books that she got from the bookstore when she was visiting Yadavastra. And I think she, like, with a very, very prim and proper sort of motion, just yanks this, like, the handles apart and proffers it to Twigg.
Yeah.
How about one of these?
But this is like gourmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say the card that I just drew to figure out what is on the top it's a vizier, the nemesis of notions, cats, clocks, and wind. Manipulation, sycophant, power, and influence. This is like a true crime novel on the top. That's like basically it's Visley, Bastards and Orphans, the real true crime sagas of Saturnine, and you can tell it's exactly that. You're looking at a full course steak dinner versus just like a warmed up shawarma pocket.
I frozen and then warmed up.
Yeah, frozen.
Honestly, shawarma sounds really good right now. I'm also very hungry. Would you care to roll for it, Marissa?
Sure. Why not?
I think Twigg is sitting here just kind of being like, but it's gourmet.
And Kyrrie's like, don't you touch that library book. I'm going to take it back to a library. Don't you touch it.
I think Gav and Maurice are in the corner being like, oh, okay.
No, I think they wanted to come with us, but we should.
Wait. Oh, I was going to say that's 10 orbs. Twigg eats the book anyway.
Oh, you're on. Kyrrie's got this.
Amazing.
Oh.
All right.
Rolling straight?
Yeah,
Come
let's
on,
just
I got
do a
money
straight
riding
roll
on
off.
this now.
Where's my... I'm gonna roll the forbidden squishy D10 if I can fucking find it.
God.
Forbidden squishy D10.
I'm through.
That's a 9. What a dumb waste of a 9.
6.
Yes. Pay up.
I think you're looking at it and Twigg is dead eyes you and gives you kind of like a look. And you realize they probably just slurped that book. So for the record,
Gav holds out her hand.
Maurice is like, oh, I haven't had money on me for weeks.
Gavriel
I'm good for it.
Gavriel will remember this.
I'm good for it.
I will say, yeah.
Twigg looks mildly apologetic, but also for the record, I did use the ability of Feed Upon Text, which is a Logavore ability, Zach.
Yep.
So I am rolling a dice, and that went pretty well. But the pages are now blank of this book. I think the rest of it's still there. And I touch a book and I absorb all of its knowledge.
Take for that one hidden knowledge as you absorb some information about one of the heroes of the Silver Sun. I will tell you this, Kyrrie, as you grab the illustrated manuscript, you just like flip through it. All of the illustrations are gone. The pages are pristine in their blankness, and just absolutely kind of like weathered by time. They have a perfect smell to them, but all of the content is gone.
Think Kyrrie yoinked the blank illustrated manuscript out of Twigg's grubby paws.
That's fair.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your steak dinner. But please, in future, try to snack from the prescriptive bag. They're here for a reason, you know.
Yeah, but like, don't you ever get tired of eating like, I don't know, beef gas station? Wait, you don't know what a gas station? What? Potatoes. Just potatoes.
No, I never get tired of potatoes.
Potatoes are delicious. What are you talking about?
Love potatoes. Can't go with you on this, Twig.
Clearly, you have no experience with food.
I don't know what you don't like because you're from a very different time. But imagine if you just ate like
war rations
all the time. Thank you, Gav. It's not great.
No, that would get old.
You know, Twig, of all the things I was worried about, it wasn't your stomach. I'm just gonna say that.
All right. So
I worry about my stomach.
With this crime against literature having taken place, are all of you
alternate episode title?
Are all of you? Yeah, there we go. What is it? Crimes against literature and the Swan event. That's our new band title.
The Swan event is such a good band name.
It's such a good band name.
I feel like it's definitely like a Decemberist style of band, though. It's like folk rock, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Well, if there was ever like a soundtrack to Invisible Sun, it's 100% the Decemberists. Are you kidding me?
I don't know how I feel about
Sun. That. Okay. Anyway.
Now I'm picturing Bright Eyes 2 in that mix, and I hate it a little bit.
Okay.
Are you flipping us off right now with your?
No, I'm not. I realized that it could look like that, but that's actually genuinely not what I was trying to do at all.
So I assume that all of you have spent your action and your 10 minutes to replenish 2 pools. Make notes of that.
And get an IOU for 10 crystal orbs.
Yeah. Make a note of that as well.
It's in the notes.
There it is.
I will also.
I gotta get my money somehow.
I will also say this: at some point, as you guys are getting set to go down, Gavriel, your parents arrive at the suite. And
while we're in total chaos land over here. Great timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm 100% picturing as Kyrrie is yoinking the book.
And we're like, and Maurice and I are like,
Kyrrie looks like she's literally going to smack Twig on the head with the empty book.
Hey, Duncan barks and it says, "Oh, it's those people again."
Exactly. And I think at that point, you just hear like a knock on the door, very quiet, but also very firm. And I think that you see in these kind of like very fanciful looking robes, both Majuin and Shia Kazan. And Shia looks at all of you and says, I'm sorry, are we interrupting something?
Nothing important? She's just like looking at all of you like, I
think Kyrrie looks like she's about to protest that this is something very important, but then like holds herself back.
Just a little bet between friends.
And she looks back at you and just says, your father, he managed to throw up some sort of illusion to protect me while I kept the door open for you. But it's still closed nonetheless. Something happened there. What happened? The angels, they seemed to try, they were panickedly moving for the tower, and then something changed.
The Vespertine had some sort of curse with him.
And your mother kind of like her eyes widen a little bit, as does your father's. And you see him touch her arm, and they share this kind of moment, which you realize is they are talking to each other, mind to mind. And she looks back at you and says, "The Vespertine."
Yes, two of them got in. We are on our way to interrogate one now before the Queen can reduce them to a mindless husk. I'm assuming that was the general vibe that I got.
And she looks at all of you and says, "Then we are coming with."
Oh, I suppose I can't say no to that.
And yeah, I think General Kazan and Majuin begin kind of following you as you make your way down to the throne room.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is definitely the mode that I want my parents to see me in. Sure.
Yeah, what is going through y'all's mind as you make your progression back down the minaret? I think at this point you've let Okarian know your intentions, and he begins ushering you down back the way you came.
Listen, I know we all want to have our say with this prisoner, but if you trust me, I can get us the answers that we want. I have much experience with conducting such interrogations with prisoners of war.
And your mother kind of cocks her eyebrow at this. What about the rest of you?
Sure, you're great, but together we can be even better, right?
Oh, I'm not kicking you out of the room. I have ways, and I did say specifically I would not kill Miss Vespertine.
It might be a bit of a sore subject, but I can always root around in their brain.
I can make it easy for you.
I'm exhausted. That sounds fine to me.
Good.
All right. And as you make your way back to the throne room, I think that Akarian has a brief word in private with Queen Frageliva herself. And I think at that point, he begins moving you down further deeper down the stairwell that he had originally kind of led you down in the minaret, which seems to go to a subterranean level. Now, there's not too much in the way of a subterranean level here in this palace. However, every place in which there is some terrible criminal who has enacted a crime against Queen Frageliva, however few and far between those are, there has to at least be some place to keep them. And still light shining in, this dungeon that you find is very spare and very limited. There only seem to be 1 or 2 cells, each of them kind of open to the air, not open to the air, but that seem to have these enchanting kind of prismatic walls that have these binding enchantments woven into them, and through this kind of translucent shimmering silver enchantment, you see, bound by bright luminescent thread, her hands tied behind her, is one of the female weird twin that you guys encountered and combated earlier that day. She is staring at all of you. On either side, her cell is flanked by more angelic protectors, Akarian kind of directing you to this area. And you realize, as he kind of like points this out, is that the reason there are only 1 or 2 cells here is that Queen Frageliva does not brook traitors, terrorists, or any other defilers of the Silver Sun realm. Most people who would dare to show such horrible offense are dealt with very handily by Queen Frageliva herself. However, in the second cell, again, these cells massive. In fact, like, I think it's just seems to be so kind of over kill for this one individual that you all faced, who is slight of build. But in the adjacent cell, you see a massive figure that fills it almost to the top. The guard that all of you saw watching over the gate is held here, sitting motionless. Secretan the Austere.
Can I root around in my brain?
Yeah, absolutely. What would you like to know?
Okris knew this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for sure. Like, that knew this person, had prior dealings with, was known by name. Is there any bit of spare information rattling around in my old roommate cranium?
I will give this to you for free because you just ate a book about the heroes of the Silver Sun. Secretan the Austere is a entity that is second only to Queen Frageliva in power. He is considered the sword tip of the defenses of the realm. At the same time, his kind of like his body is a living bulwark against the enemies of the Silver Sun. His gaze is vigilant and unwavering, and he is often depicted in the book that you just read as taking on several armies at once, just by himself. And yet he is sitting in this cell, motionless. And as all of you kind of take the sight of these two prisoners in, you just see the weird twin kind of flex her shoulders a little bit, crack her neck, look at all of you, and a creepy half smile slides up one side of her face. And that is where we're going to take our 10-minute break. All right. So all of you have seen in one cell the massive kind of divine bulwark, Secretan standing motionless. However, adjacent to him, this massive kind of 20-foot tall figure in gigantic plate mail is the weird Vespertine twin that you encountered mere hours ago, if even that. And she awaits all of you. And as she looks at you and a smile crosses her face, Gavriel, Ocarian sidles up to all of you and said, "The only thing that we could find when we searched her were these." And he produces a bag that seems to rattle as it kind of shakes in his hand. What do you guys do?
What's inside the bag? I think Gav would open it up first.
As you take possession of the bag, the thing that you are given is something that looks and resembles, it looks like a bag of teeth. And so you realize as you kind of grip it and you feel this kind of like weight to it, that it has this kind of heft that you realize is magical in nature. And just sent you the description of what it is in Zoom. And it seems to
nice.
Yeah, it seems to give off this kind of vague protective aura as you handle it in your hand. And then Ocarian says, "As far as I know, that's all she came into the temple tower with. And that and those terrible cubes.
On that note, do we know how they got in? And Maurice glances over to the other cell. Is that why he's in there?
Yes, as far as we can tell, Secretan, for whatever reason, left his post, giving them an opportunity.
Do you know if it was done willingly or if it was under manipulation?
This is what we or Queen Frageliva are meant to ascertain, I assume.
Secretan had anything to say for themselves?
His communication is labored. He is very barely ever communicated in the past. I assume he will have more to say in the presence of Queen Frageliva, but so far he just nods and greets us and just awaits whatever fate she has in plan for him.
Will you let us in to her cell?
It is my understanding that that is what I am meant to do. And he very quickly, just to one side of the cell, kind of signs something on that translucent magical prism that is currently holding it in place, and it shimmers and seems to dissipate, giving you the opportunity to walk in.
And Gav does, just not even acknowledging the smirk that's on the woman's face, as she is just completely impassive as she steps forward, looking, for all intents and purposes, incredibly bored as she looks down at the Vespertine.
I have to ask, did anybody else join her?
Oh, yeah. I'm right behind her.
I think Kyrrie sort of peels off a little bit, knowing that the Vespertine is in pretty good hands with others. I think she's going to head towards Secretan.
Okay.
Actually, as is Twigg is kind of standing in between, undecided.
And as you guys enter the cell together, Maurice and Gavriel, that wall shimmers back into place as Okarian does some more sort of magical sigils, signing them in his hands. And then as that shimmer comes back, you see her lurch forward and as if to kind of get right up into your face. And suddenly that in that bright thread grows taut and restrains her and pulls her back.
I don't even think Gav flinches as she comes close to her face, and she just blinks. I trust you know what's going to happen now.
Ooh, they sent a Visley. Were the angels too afraid to do any of their own dirty work?
I'm just the opening act, child. The one who's following me, they're going to leave you an empty husk. No point in lying to you. But I don't think you're afraid of that. I don't think you care about whatever happens to you or the void that you so desperately seem to love, along with the rest of your pathetic little people. So we could do this one of two ways. You can answer some of my questions and my friends' questions, and we'll leave you alone. We could do that. But you're not going to do that, are you?
Signs. Guys, yes, it really just depends on the kind of questions you want answered.
The kind I think you're not going to want to give up for free.
Never know.
Well, see, and I asked myself this. She's pacing back and forth sort of around her. How do you get answers from someone that isn't afraid of dying? That isn't afraid of Death, the void, be it your mind, your soul, your body. An interesting conundrum, I thought. But then there are so many ways to make you wish for the void and never give it to you.
And she kind of raises her chin a little bit. She's been kind of like following your movements. There's just kind of like this almost snake-like kind of weave to her head as she watches you. And then there's just kind of like an arched eyebrow, a kind of look of curiosity more than fear.
Let's start with an easy one. What's your name?
Oh, that one you can have for free. My name is Strava.
Strava. All right, Strava. A name for a name. I'm Gavriel Kazan. It's good to meet you.
I wish I could say the same.
Do you want to tell me what brought you here and who gave you that order?
I wouldn't be able to tell you even if I wanted to.
Somebody sent somebody to ask of you for this thing. You never actually have any contact with any one of the higher ups. That would be putting too much importance on your shoulders, and you are quite young.
You're so good at this.
I'm inclined to believe that you are partially telling me the truth and lying. I'm merely delaying how intense this is going to get. You can't be older than 18 years old. What does a young child want with the void so much?
You seem to have all the answers. Why don't you tell me?
You're not going to even give me that.
What makes you so certain I'm 18?
You just look so young.
Changeries exist. Changes can be made. People can be altered. You can be whoever you want to be in the city of notions.
Oh, so vanity. Well, that's disappointing. How old are you really?
Who's to say? A little bit older than my teeth and about as old as my tongue.
All right. So, you're not going to tell me how you got in to the Silver Sun or into Queen Frageliva's palace, and you're not going to tell me who told you to do it?
Seems less likely, but I'd ask the big guy over in the next cell how I got in. Seems to really be more of his purview.
Oh, trust me, while we're here, we'll talk to everyone. But I promise that if you do tell me things, that any pain I cause you, it will stop. And you're going to want to stop it. Because I think despite everything that you're telling me, whatever bravado you may have, your reasons for looking like that, I think the only thing that makes somebody so hell-bent on flinging themselves into nothingness, wanting everything to end, is fear. And you're not afraid yet. Not nearly enough. And I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Gliophobia.
Okay. Could you please explain to me what that does?
I make a close creature so afraid of pain of any kind that they will do anything to end it.
Okay. All right. So I need to look up a stat block. So
And I chose my words very specifically.
very cool. So this Hikatum, you are going to need to hit 2 successes on this spell.
Good thing it's a +1 die.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, what is the level of the spell?
It's level 3. Can you upcast spells in Invisible Swan?
You can certainly, if you have a special secret, you can spend more than one. Otherwise, you just spend one extra sorcery to upcast it one.
Okay, yeah,
level.
I'll upcast it to 4. It's level 3.
Okay.
I'm able to spend sortilege to add a +1 or another die.
Oh.
So
the spell itself comes with a +1 die.
Okay. So I will tell you this. Well, this is cool because right now the level of your spell is your venture is 4. Now, normally it would be 9 to affect her, and you'd have to get 2 successes because of the inherently magical defenses that she has. However, because she has been bound by this angelic thread,
Yep.
the level goes down by 2. So I will tell you this. If you take an extra die, you're going to need to hit 3 twice. If you take but you have 3 dice to do it. Or if you take that extra 1, you're just going to have to hit 2 twice. Okay?
Well, I think that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I'll spend a sortilege to bump it down to 2.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's do so 2 dice, 2 twice at least.
Okay.
Not even a problem. 7 on one dice, 6 on the other.
Yeah, I think that as you cast this spell, and what does that look like as you do this?
I actually think that it's happening as I'm speaking, and it has been being woven. That entire preamble was Gav stringing everything together, which was like the setup for like the parameters of the spell that I am making up whole cloth, because it's just a regular spell, but I think it's fun. So just the very last few things that she said, specifically, like, if you tell me things, I promise the pain will stop. It's sort of like the knot at the end of the spell where suddenly maybe even she could see like this string of darkly illuminated light. It's sort of like something is being backlit. There's like a string of runes and all of these other things that have just been like, but they kind of look like steam when you're talking or breathing in very cold winter air. That's just sort of wrapped itself around her. And the second she finishes it, it just seems to tighten around her like a bow before completely evaporating around within her.
Okay. So as you do this, you've cast a spell. So I'm going to turn a card. We're going to see what you got. Okay. This is the untrustworthy mirror. It accentuates gold. It weakens silver. Its meanings are illusion, false identity, and failure. Can we trust the mirror? When you don't look into the mirror, what's the mirror looking at? Something that appears real is not. It could be that someone's in disguise, or it might just be an idea. A fact or an emotion is actually a deception. Taken broadly, the untrustworthy mirror suggests failure. Someone significant is actually someone else in disguise. Some important fact accepted by many people is really a lie. A great endeavor fails. The mirror virus begins to spread. So, okay. This means something to me, and that may not necessarily mean anything outward right now. But I will tell you what ends up happening as you cast this spell is you just hear the clench of her jaw and her teeth as they set, and she just begins to kind of like slowly, very as subtly as she can try, to work against the divine thread that is binding her. And she is beginning to like have little shallow breaths.
We haven't begun.
Just to everybody, light check. Green? Okay.
Green on my end.
Okay. Yeah. So she is beginning to struggle, and she's looking at you now a little bit just like less like a snake and more like a kind of a cornered animal.
I'll ask you again, and then we're going to find out what it is you're afraid of. Who sent you here?
I didn't get an order from anyone. If that's what you're asking.
Can I make a roll to see if she's telling me the truth?
Absolutely.
What would that be?
This would be interaction.
Well, I'm fresh out of Bene on that one, so we're just gonna roll straight.
Okay.
I could spend a sortilege to boost it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you'd like
You
to
want to keep spending your sortilege this way?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That'd be 2 dice then.
roll 2. I will tell you the level is going to be a 5 for this to just ascertain how much. One thing I will say is, like, Maurice, what is it looking like as you are kind of like trying, because this is magical assistance you're giving, what is this look like as you're assisting the ensorcelment here?
So the original one, I think the threads that Gav was weaving, it's sort of like as they're appearing, Maurice is kind of like pulling them taut. You know, if they're hanging from a ceiling, he's pulling it tight and stapling it to the corner. So in this way, he is kind of just slowly filling in a web around this space.
Okay. All right. So how'd you do?
Sorry, I was waiting for that description.
Cool.
No. Oh, yeah. 8 and a 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think that this challenge would have been 4, what with that successful spell. Yeah, you can like tell that you realize that what she is saying is that she probably got her orders from a dead drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this seems like a fairly, like, from that, what do you gather about this? Or what do you do next, I should say?
Well, I anticipated that she was probably lower on the rung in terms of whatever their hierarchy is.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking that, just, has anyone ever contacted you face to face?
Only members of my cell.
Tell me about them. I'd like to know. And without permission, DM, for not just casting Eye of Amonis straight up, but just sort of putting a hand on her shoulder, but my hand turning into bird talons that dig in.
Okay.
To cause just a little bit of hurt.
Yeah, I think she immediately recoils and she's like, "You killed one of them! You killed my brother!"
Oh, trust me, we'll kill more than just your brother. And I'm not interested in him. I'm interested in you. So,
and
tell me their names.
I'm a cell of 4. My brother was 1. But it was just us here. The other 2, they're not on this sun.
Which sun are they on? And she digs in a little bit.
And yeah, there's just like this kind of like, I think there's this hiss that comes out of her. Even with that slight pressure, the agliophobia is working its way through her psyche. And she just says, "There's Agro and Bafus. They're in the Pale."
And what are they intending to do in the Pale?
Same thing we all do. Work our ways into your little institutions, and we rot them from the inside, as rotten as they already are.
Is this your way of telling me you don't actually know?
And she looks at you there. The gaze is just unswerving. We have our orders.
From a dead drop with no face.
And I think she just... Artifacts. Bulwarks against the dark. We're meant to find them. To destroy them, corrupt them, turn them to our advantage.
And what was your intention here? To destroy the Queen's Court? Or something else?
Who wouldn't give... What wouldn't any of us give to have a horde of angels laying siege on Ravenel at the night side of the silver sun. Let the oblivion in.
Do I recognize any of those things that she just told me?
As if from behind you, as if hearing your thought, your mother says, Ravenel, the warden of the night side of Silva. And you just hear Strava say, the same.
So that was your plan? An army of angels to herald the void.
One of many plans. One of 100 cells working in tandem.
How many do you know? How many cells? How many people in those cells are you aware of?
She's struggling again.
I'm gonna start casting the Eye of Amanus spell as like I'm letting it sort of grow up my arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not upcasting it just as normal as the one we're all familiar with, as my Arabast form starts to become more pronounced. And well, some of us here are very familiar with what you're capable of doing to so many people.
I've only been in contact with 2. One member planted on the Vancian campus, and another on their way to the gold.
And do you know the name of the one that's been planted on the Vancian campus?
Marlowe. It was a long time ago. Whatever work he had done there is probably done by now.
Yeah, Gav has to resist the urge to bring the claws in deeper when she hears that, just a little bit.
All
but
right.
she has to be professional.
By the way, does Agliophobia have a depletion?
Yeah, because we're not doing rounds. It's hard to say. I'm happy to roll whenever. It's just depletion 0.
Mm-hmm.
I have to roll a 0.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's what that means.
Yeah, I will tell you what. Give me one depletion.
Let me double check because I skimmed away from it. No, come here. Yeah, check each hour. Oh, that's what it says.
Oh, you're fine. No worries. Okay. Yeah, she.
Cool. Glad. See, this is why we have spell cards.
I will say this: if you would like to mask your reaction, that is going to be an interaction roll. It is still comparatively low for her level.
I'll do it. I love the flavor. I love the spice.
Yeah. You just need a 5.
No need to help me with this one. I don't mind if she.
I think Maurice is working on composing himself rather than helping you.
Yeah, that's a 2.
Okay. Yeah, she looks at you, looks in the back, and then sees Kyrrie and looks back at you and says, "Oh, that one strike a nerve."
Let's just say it's someone we're all very familiar with.
You have no idea what's coming. She's like, at this point, there's like that fear, that agliophobia is still affecting her, but there's just a moment where she looks like she's about to lick her lips.
It's the void, right? The void's what's coming. It's not a big mystery here.
If my brothers and sisters and siblings have done their job, every bit of your silly little mortal organizations, all of them are ripe for a fall. The Order of Honed Thought, the Calmera Sodality, the Zan Weir, the Church of Midnight, all of them will fall.
Thank you for providing such a dedicated list of your targets.
It's just a fraction. There are hundreds of us, thousands.
And you will fail. And I don't say this as a threat. Don't get me wrong. She digs in. You'll fail the same way that your kind always fails.
Oh.
Because you don't actually want anything. You want nothing. You're pathetic. You're a coward. That makes you easy. I don't care if we pick you off one by one. And quite frankly, and she just brings herself in close. You put too much faith in how much I care about any of these institutions. I'm not just here to stop whatever insanity you wish to bring upon the actuality. What I want is a lot simpler. It's far more primal than that. And at that point, I think that Eye of a Manus fully envelops her. So she is talking to the face of an Erebus now. I want revenge for what you've already done. And if I hadn't made a promise to somebody much more powerful than me, I would leave you here screaming, begging for the void. But if I can't do it to you, then I'll do it to your brothers and your sisters. Because it's so funny. You want the void so badly, but you were so heartbroken when I shot your brother's head off.
And she tries to reach out with her teeth to bite you. I think that honestly the thread pulls back and you can easily like pull back if you want, but is there a reaction other than that?
I laugh. And I stand up and I release my talons from her. Thank you so much for your dedicated cooperation. That spell lasts for quite a while. Maybe I should leave you something. And she looks over at Maurice. Or maybe you would like to leave her with a parting gift.
Maurice says, "Oh, that's so kind of you to include me. I've been saving this for a special occasion." And Maurice pulls out an invocation that he's had for a while.
Oh, wow.
That which crawls on the inside.
Oh, no. Okay.
You cause a nearby creature to suddenly and violently vomit a stream of insects and goo.
Okay. We're gonna say I'm gonna veil that. But I will tell you this. It happens, and it is unpleasant. I will tell you this though.
What kind of bugs?
Yeah. Oh no. We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get into the specifics here. But yeah, it happens. It's violent, and I think that there is these screams that are heard while that is happening in between. So much so that like Okarian, like I'm assuming you guys are done.
Whatever, I think like Gav has already like turned her back on her and it's sort of like raises one hand. I think at this point you're going to be entirely satisfied when the queen renders your mind to dust. And whatever we couldn't get from you, she'll give us later.
Keep your new friends company, huh? Maurice gestures to all the bugs crawling around.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And yeah, you just hear the echoes of screams. So much so that as you exit the cell, Okarian signs something. And you see not only does the sound peter out as it closes back, but the walls go opaque. And just kind of like, you don't know if that kind of locks her in the dark or what have you, but you suffice to say, nobody is kind of like able to see the show. That said, you know, that was a very intense thing that happened. I have to ask, Kyrrie and Twigg, what goes through your mind as you see this?
Well, I think Kyrrie already walked away.
Like,
Twigg
Kyrrie
is
has
kind
been
of standing awkwardly.
in between. I feel like Kyrrie doesn't see most of this because she's talking to the other prisoner, or trying to.
Yeah, I think, let's kind of like, I will say this, if you wanted to step into the cell with Secretan, you may. And we can kind of like have that happening parallel while this is kind of happening on the other side. Would you guys like
I think
to
Kyrrie will do that.
Yes. Okay. So after Ocarian let Gav and Maurice into the cell of the weird twin, he also does the same for you. Twigg, are you going in as well, or are you staying out?
I think Twigg is standing outside the door, like unwilling to, like, I would say they watched. I'm gonna, I guess, retcon what I said before. I think they watched for a while once it seemed that like Gav and Maurice had just a really good handle on what was going on. And it's not their way, really. They're not, they don't prefer to force pain. They prefer to excise things from people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this was, I think they probably wander over. So I would say they may show up as Kyrrie makes a decision to go inside and talk to, what's his face? Big boy.
Yeah.
The Secretariat.
The secretary.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Secretariat. Oh, how dare you?
Wait, not Water Biscuit or whatever the fuck it is.
Seabiscuit, thank you.
Seabiscuit, there we go.
I don't have a horse in this race, that's fine. But yeah, what was that?
Wow.
Anyhow,
Ouch.
yeah. I was
Psychic damage.
I was gonna say, at this point, Kyrrie, you are in the cell with Secretan, and this figure is titanic in size. It looms, and as it breathes, you get the sense of the immense amount of labor it must be to, like, this absolute wall of a entity. The armor covering it is covered, as on closer inspection, with gouges from battles over millennia. There are just like utterly scarred plates, and there are blades that are still embedded in this thing that have been hammered and made a part of the bulwark that whatever this entity it is embodies. And you just hear the creak of these kind of like divine metal plates as the eyes of this kind of visor, or rather the kind of like the darkness of this visor, turns to meet your gaze.
I think Kyrrie stares right up into Secretan's eyes, insofar as she can make eye contact from a distinctly lower elevation. And I think she'll say, "Hello. Are you doing okay?"
Hell. Oh. I am well.
Are you sure about that? You are in a prison cell. Did you know?
Yes.
And you consider yourself well?
I patiently wait, as I always have.
Always. You've always guarded things.
Yes.
Since when? How long has your tenure been?
And you hear the plates creak as the head lolls up a moment to think, and then turns back down.
Since the birth of the Auru stam.
Oh, so you're a guard of the Alrustown.
I am the guard of the city on the hill.
Why do you stand guard here? Did you choose this?
It is my purpose.
But did you choose this? Or were you created for this?
And every word you realize is laborious. Every word, a profound amount of effort.
I was created for this task.
And you've never known anything else?
I have known joy and sorrow, but no other duty.
Can I tell, based on understanding the words, whether this laborious speech is just a characteristic of Secretan or if this is something that has been placed upon him?
You may certainly give me magical lore. This is also just probably an intellect roll, whichever you feel most comfortable doing.
Sure. I have +1 to magical lore, so I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 7.
You can just tell, taking a look, that whatever magic, that whatever kind of armor plating, whatever kind of work has gone into creating this carapace that he inhabits, it takes extreme amount of effort to even move, or to speak, or to even move his head. And yet his strength is so prodigious that you have sense that there is a great deal of strength and power there. So much so that he is basically a juggernaut. But this just makes everything that is not adrenaline or, immediate action that much more, let's say, taxing. So you have a sense that this is just naturally how Secretan is and how he communicates.
Okay. I think she looks up at him. You spoke of joy. Can you tell me something that brings you joy?
My friend, Galiamanitas.
Who is that?
A daily visitor to the city. Another angel.
Did they visit the city today?
No.
So, if I may ask, if it's not too impertinent, Mr. Secretan, why did you leave your post today?
Galiamanitas has been gone a long time. I am worried.
So you left to look for your friend?
Yes.
Have you told the Queen any of this?
No.
And yet they locked you up first.
I must await the Queen's judgment, as must all subjects of her realm.
But if you left your post for a completely unrelated reason, she can't punish you too harshly, can she?
She may end an angel with a gaze. Whether she deems it just is her choice.
She will give you a chance to speak. Correct? You will speak the truth, and the truth should set you free.
Yes. But I have failed. And my friend is still missing.
Do you know anything about their disappearance?
No.
We could help.
They have been gone a week.
A week. And it's not like them. If they've been coming every day, I imagine that's a very long time to come every day and to suddenly not appear for a whole week. I can see why you were concerned.
And you just hear the creak of the plates.
Tell me, Secretan, is there anything that could bring you some comfort in here?
And
an object, a plant, something to keep you company?
And he looks down at you, and there's a moment where a kind of a beat where he considers, as even the cogitation is laborious. It is not so much that he is unintelligent, it is that everything takes so much. And he looks down at you and says,
The smiles of the visitors to the city were enough for me. I miss them.
I don't know if this is going to work, but Kyrrie would like to try to use her forte ability, Words Become Truth, level 4 +1 die. I write a noun on an object, probably a piece of paper, but perhaps something else. And to all who are close to me when I do, the object looks, feels, tastes, and smells like what I've written on it. Thus, if I write wolf on a piece of paper, those close to me perceive the paper as a wolf. Though this is basically just an illusion, it is a potent one as it exists within the mind of the one on the other end of it. However, because it is in their mind, I have no control over the specifics or what happens after it is created. And so I think what Kyrrie draws is a smile.
and as you draw that, I don't think you need to roll, as there's no way for, I think that Secretan can somehow, like, even the bulwark of armor, the magical ensorcelment and sorcery that coats him and protects him, this is not an offensive spell, and so it does not get coded as such as it meets those that bulwark of defense. And
Thank you for your kindness.
You needn't thank me. Thank you for telling the truth and for caring so much about your friend. I hope that wherever they are, they're okay, and that they feel how much you were willing to give up to make sure that they were.
Thank you.
And I think with a nod, Kyrrie will move to exit the cell.
yeah, absolutely. Ocarian lets you out. Twigg, while that was, is there anything that kind of crossed your mind as that was ongoing?
Yeah, I think Twig has a couple questions, but would prefer to speak alone with Secretariat.
All right, hold on. I'm going to get the horse.
Kyrrie will like hold the door on her way out, you know, and like allow you to step through.
Yeah, Twig just gives like a little shitty Boy Scout, Fizzlay Scout salute.
At which point, you just again hear that creak of metal and plate as that attention is now fixed on you.
Twig walks into the room, and we've interacted with this person before, just not in this context, yes?
Yes, I'd say so.
I just want to make sure this is the person who required a price, or was that the Guardian?
That was the Sun Warden.
That was the Sun Warden, and this guy required something. This was the one that scanned us?
The scanning.
Yeah,
creature.
he was the one who scanned you on your entrance to the city, but he seemed distracted.
He did do that. He did. That is true. Twig just kind of takes the full scope of this person in. You've been alive a very long time.
Yes.
I just ate a book about you. I apologize, but I may have been listening to your conversation before. Did you speak the truth when you said all you want is the joy of, or the smiles of people that want access to the city?
Yes. It makes the work worth it all.
I think you see Twig's face harden a little bit at this. They're trying to remember something and they can't remember what it is. And they look up at this massive ancient warrior who has shattered armies and was created for a singular purpose. And I think the horror of something being created for one purpose, given thought, given life, and being given such a simple desire, it feels like a mockery of life. And I think you see, Twig kind of grimaces a little bit. And, is that enough for you?
And there is this kind of shift again, this Titanic movement of the plates. And as I think that uncomfortably, Secretan considers your question. And you sense again that deep rumble as the voice emits out of the armor.
I want to know Illuminated is safe.
Why?
Because he is my friend.
You may make me an interaction roll if you'd like.
I would like to do so. I would like to also use the ability Scent of Magic,
Mm-hmm.
which is 2 sorcery, and I breathe in, and I just want to take in the scope of this ancient behemoth.
Okay. So roll your interaction. I will say you may add the level of your spell to your roll.
All right. So I should do that instead of using sort of an interaction.
Sorry, say that one more time. You came out garbled.
So I should do that. Well, that's what happens when I talk very quietly. I should do that instead of adding a sortilege or a bene in interaction bene.
I will say this: you can treat it as 2 separate actions. You can pump up the spell in order to better serve the role. Whatever you so choose.
I think the scent is separate from the interaction.
Yeah.
I will spend an interaction bene on the roll.
Cool.
So it's pretty good. It's a 7 + 1 for an 8.
Okay. So as you breathe in, the thing that you gather about this is it is older still than the oldest thing you can conceive of in this moment. It is probably just a little bit younger than the Al Rustam itself, the font of the legacy, that piece of the legacy that is the wellspring from which the Silver Sun really kind of like found its denizens. It may not necessarily be old as the actuality itself, but it's up there. And the thing that that you gather is that it is covered in defensive magic, and not only that, offensive power. If it wanted to get out of this palace, the only thing that could stop it would be Queen Frageliva herself, and it would be a close fight. The fact that it is sitting there comfortably, or not uncomfortably, just standing there patiently waiting, tells you all you need to know about its character. But the other thing that your interaction roll tells you about its character is that when it says, I care about my friend, it means to say, I love this person. It just doesn't have the equipment or the ability to say it.
I'm gonna need a moment. All right. Twigg takes a moment to process this, breathing in this ancient this ancient weapon that just wants joy and love. You may have been set on a path by the people that created you, but that is not the only path. But if it makes you happy, then I'm not the one to tell you to choose a different route. But if you would like to find a different route, I will help you. I have a question.
Okay.
You're very old.
Yes. I am.
Is this the first time we've met?
It looks at you searchingly.
No. I do not think it is.
Do you remember anything about that?
I'm going to turn a card. Oh God, this is his card. The Imperator. The sovereign of visions, swans, blades, and water. Wisdom in war, turning points, deciding factors. Sometimes conflict is needed, and the Imperator believes that keeping a level head and using intellect and wisdom rather than rage or brute force paves the path to victory. Of course, not every crisis point lies within a literal battle. Some conflicts take other forms, stressful situations where some are prone to make rash decisions based on emotion, but not the Imperator. Follow his example. The Imperator is the sovereign of the Visions family. He is a leader, an advisor, a teacher, and a mighty warrior. This card represents a crucial turning point, the deciding factor that brings victory or defeat, the crisis point. Generally, the interpretation is that when the card is turned, the person in question must make a very important decision upon which everything that follows now rests. The Imperator also suggests that this choice should be made with consideration and care, not emotion or haste. He shall lead us through the gates. The storm of war cannot harm us if we follow his command. And he looks at you and says,
I know of what you were when you wore a different form. You were a tool of creation. The angels used some. I have seen you at my gates before. I sensed your purpose. You meant the city no harm. And so you passed. But the capacity for harm was there. If you had done such, I would have ended you. But you meant no harm. The form that you wear stood beside you and offered me a smile in which I took no joy. That is as much as I know.
Thank you for sharing your memories with me.
it bows its head to you.
I hope you find joy.
My offer stands, should you desire a new path.
And again, you just hear the creak of the plates as he nods.
Twigg will leave.
Okay. So, in short order, I am going to truncate the next event that transpires, which is once your interrogation is completed, some time elapses, and you are brought into the throne room of Queen Frageliva, led by divine thread, pulled in front of the queen. The Vespertine is led. She is the worst for wear. She has been somewhat cleaned since your encounter with her, insofar as it is a means to make her presentable to the Queen of Frageliva. And she looks upon the Vespertine and says,
This is your one opportunity to offer me truth. What were you doing here in the city, on the hill? What was your intention?
and knowing that she already has, that you have already been given this information, she remains quiet.
Can I do a quick roll to see if the spell is still up?
You may please roll me a depletion. Yeah.
Yeah, I just check every hour. It's technically still going on her.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, that's a 9.
Yeah, she's still terrified of pain. And as she is looking at this figure, you just hear Queen Frageliva say,
I will not ask again.
and she begins volunteering the information that she has already told all of you. And as she does relate this information, she looks, I think the queen looks deeply into her. And you realize as her silver eyes flash, that she is listening and ascertaining the truth of this Vespertine's statements. Finding no fault in these words, the queen then moves on and says,
Did you act in league with Secretan the Ostiary to leave the temple tower defenseless?
and you just hear her look up at the queen and just say, we kidnapped the angel. The one he had such fondness for. And as you, she says this, the queen looks down and says,
And where is Gallia Manatus now?
and I think again, fearfully, in defiance of this horrifically powerful being, she's just going to kind of like grit her teeth and knit her hands together and like try to flex against the restraints. And that is when Queen Frageliva's eyes flash. And instead of this kind of like placid flash that all of you have seen, the silver light, there is a heat mirage in the air that shimmers as the gaze lances forward. And I think there is this moment where the Vespertine screams and says,
The forest of...
Sorry, wrong one. The forest of measures. We left him in an extra dimensional space in the forest of measures. And hearing this, Queen Frageliva relents, and that heat mirage dissipate as the air returns to normal. And so I think that she like kind of almost sits back satisfied on the throne momentarily and says,
What other plans do you have for this, my realm?
and the Vespertine just looks and says, I was one of 4. It was my brother and I's assignment to attack the Aurustam. Whatever else any of ourselves have got planned, I am not privy to it. But you're all fair game as far as I know. There's this measure of defiance that quickly dies as Queen Frageliva stands.
Then I shall rend upon you judgment.
And I need to turn a card. Jackal. The nemesis. Intimidation, power, ruthlessness, dark magic, and necromancy. The Jackal bides his time, waiting to escort us into death personally.
For your crimes against my realm. For your intentions against those angels under the purview of the Aurustam and under my protection. I find you in want of condemnation, and so I condemn you to destruction by my hand.
And there is a thunderclap as she brings her hands together. Strava does not have time to elicit a cry before you see her form disintegrated into ash. And at this point, the ash travels and finds its way back to the hand, the palm outstretched of Queen Frageliva. And once again, you see her silver eyes flash as she looks deeply into this pile of ashes, sifting through it, looking to find the truth that had been left unsaid. The note that strikes in all of you, this deep chord that resonates, is the swiftness of the retribution and the fury of Queen Frageliva, the Queen of Angels, and perhaps the lesson that not all angels are beneficent and kindly, but all are just. And that is where we're going to end it today. And we're back. So unfortunately, due to some more technical difficulties, Hopper is unfortunately going to be unable to speak because of the audio issues. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to read Hopper's outro stuff. But guys, we're just going to go really quickly around the table and do character notes, starting with Gavriel. Joy, despair, character arcs, acumen.
Oh man, I'm going to give you... That's joy all day.
Okay. Awesome.
I had a great time.
Awesome possum.
Gav watched the Vespertine die. She had a hand in that. That's a good day.
I will say
no character arcs. Let me actually double check how I worded my character arcs before I say that entirely. No. No character arcs today.
Okay. So in addition, I will say take an acumen for a very expert tactic for interrogation. So absolutely take that. And then, we'll move down the way to Maurice. Joy, despair, character arcs.
That's Joy. Got my arm fixed. My dog can talk. And everybody was together and hanging out. And it was good.
I believe the dogs should vote.
Ain't nothing in the rules what says.
There's nothing in the rules what say dogs can't be Vizsla. Okay. Moving over to the other side of this. Actually, we're just going to move Hopper to the end here. So Kyrrie, joy, despair, character arcs.
Yeah, I think while I'm tempted to take a despair for the book getting eaten, I think Kyrrie will take an overall joy for connecting to Secretarian and managing to figure out the truth and kind of being reassured that he wasn't involved in some sort of agenda or other Vespertine activity, at least not willingly.
Cool. Also, we've gone ahead and queried Hopper for Twigg's notes, and they are despair, finding out that they, in a previous life, were a tool of the angels, and a questionably malevolent person was with them. So go ahead and mark despair for that. And also, that reminds me, sorry, Kyrrie, take an acumen for your expert questioning of Sacritan and just learning so much more about that character. Not only that, also Maurice, take one acumen also for assisting Gavriel and for choosing to let go of the hatred. Finally, I will say, Twigg, would you say this? Would you say that this counts as a character arc for you, or a character arc step? Yeah. So take one acumen as you find out more about your true history and your true past, as well as one acumen for learning and seeing and empathizing with Secretan the Ostitiary. So finally, we're just going to do around the table once again. Marcy, shout outs and plugs.
Hey, y'all. Not too many shout outs today. But if you're not completely sick of Hopper, myself, or Zach, then tune in on Tuesday for our penultimate Mad Max themed Flights of Fandom. It's getting real good, y'all. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Come join us for that. And of course, we'll have more Flights of Fandoms throughout the rest of the spring and the summer that are upcoming. But there's tons of other shows that you can find on Manapod Studios. Check out our calendar, check out our YouTube. If you're looking for past episodes of even this show, they're all there for you. Do catch up and, come game with us.
Excellent. Moving down the overlay. Bill, shout outs and plugs.
I'd like to shout out my castmates on the show and the game master. It's always a pleasure, especially to Zach and Marissa. Your scene together with Secretan was really touching. I really enjoyed that. I would like to, in honor of Duncan Awakening, I'd like to shout out a game by I'm blanking on the name, Jian Shim, called Have I Been Good? And I'll put the link in the Twitch chat. Just reading the description of this game made me cry, so I'm not going to do that to you now, but it's a really beautiful exercise. If you have a dog, I encourage you to play this game and show some support to Jian Shim.
I'm just tearing up the title. That's great. Okay. Moving over to the other side. Marissa, shout outs and plugs.
Yeah, I have just started a really cool game of Alas for the Awful Sea that is called Kingsport 1851 Unseen Gliding Monsters. This is on Catherine Rahman's YouTube channel. Basically, we are a whaling crew in 1851 in Kingsport, Massachusetts. It is a cross between like Moby Dick and Lovecraft, effectively, in terms of its vibe. So join our motley crew once a week. We've got, it's not live, but the YouTube videos are uploaded to the channel, and I'll put that in the chat. It's a great time, a whale of a time, one might say. And find out if we're going to find whales, eldritch monsters, or both at the bottom of the sea.
Awesome. Hopper, just do me one last check and see if you can do your mic, and we'll see if you can do some shout outs and plugs as a outro.
Considering the fact that you just went, on my end, maybe not.
I think you're
Can
good.
you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, fuck yeah. I get to do my own plugs. That's right. You can't take it away from me. Fuck, I forgot. Oh, what's up? I'm Hopper. Sorry, I'm the worst person here. I am your resident dumpster fire, and I'm a pro GM and a arborist based out of Brooklyn, New York. Despite I'm not in Brooklyn right now, which is why my connection is ass. And I'd like to shout out. Oh, if you want more of me, listen to what those other people said, and then also you can find bad hot takes under Fail Deadly. That's with a 3 instead of an E, or quality content at the Legend Tree, which is where I, try to be less of a fucking gremlin. Try. And yeah, shout out to two really rad podcasts, Party of One and Encounter Party. Both of those are TTRPG podcasts of very different beasties, and both of them are incredible, and you should check them out. And if you like non-TTRPG actual plays, Bill, Zach, I, and another good person, Ned Donovan, have been doing sporadic and when we fucking can playthroughs of the Gloomhaven digital board game over on the Legend Tree to make me learn how to produce a stream so that I can eventually produce my own bullshit. And my last shout out is to Be Gay, Do Crime.
Awesome.
Especially in these trying times.
Absolutely. So guys, my shout outs and plugs are fairly quick. Big shout out to Angel Citadel, Josh, as well as Joanne, who are huge fans of the show, who've been kind of been following us for forever. They have a fireside chat at their channel at Angel Citadel at 8:30 p.m. So go check them out and say hey. Other shout outs to my amazing cast for doing awesome work as always. And I'm just, I was sweating bullets because I tried to make sure that I knew they were bringing the A game, so I had to try to match it. I hope I made it to just the tippy top of that level. So anyhow, all that plus a couple of reminders. There is a war going on. So if you can, we've been sending a timed Nightbot timer out to everybody to let you know a few charities that you can send donations to. Not only that, but if we are currently working on a specialized forte that goes to anybody who donates or shows a screenshot or a digital receipt for a donation of $20 or more to the Ukraine-related charity of your choice. Those who send that to me, whether it's on Twitter, on Twitch here at Manapot Studios, through some DM that, or on Discord, we will send you a final version of that forte that you can take and enjoy in your own game of Invisible Sun. So check that out. So guys, in the meantime, we're running a little bit late, but I wanted to take the time to just say thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for checking out this great story that we've got running. And right as things are starting to heat up and more questions are starting to get answered. But in the meantime, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of the ones you love, and may the invisible sun shine on you all. Good night.